Hello and welcome to What the F Just Happened Today, your essential guide to the daily shock and awe in national politics. I'm Joe Amditis, let's get to it. It's Friday, January 15th, 2021. Welcome to day 1457. Federal prosecutors say there was strong evidence the pro-Trump mob that stormed the U.S. Capitol planned to capture and assassinate elected officials. Hours later, however, the head of the investigation cautioned that the probe is still in its early stages and there was no direct evidence of kill and capture teams. The accusation came in an 18-page motion that was filed on Thursday as part of the federal criminal case against Jacob Anthony Chansley, a well-known conspiracy theorist who was photographed shirtless but wearing a furry hat with horns during the insurrection. Prosecutors wrote that strong evidence, including Chansley's own words and actions at the Capitol, supports that the intent of the Capitol rioters was to capture and assassinate elected officials in the United States government. The memo urges the judge to keep Chansley behind bars. Chansley also wrote a note for Mike Pence in the Senate chamber which read, "It's only a matter of time. Justice is coming." Secret Service officers evacuated Mike Pence from the Senate chamber moments before the violent mob that stormed the Capitol reached the second-floor landing in the Senate. If the mob had arrived seconds earlier, Pence might have been in eyesight of the mob as he was being rushed across a reception hall into the hideaway less than 100 feet from that landing. A Capitol police officer, however, lured the rioters away from the Senate. Pence was later evacuated to a more secure location in the Capitol complex while rioters were still inside the Capitol. Moving on, more than 2 million people have now died from the coronavirus worldwide. The global death toll passed 1 million deaths in late September, more than 9 months after the pandemic began. The death toll in the United States, meanwhile, is quickly approaching 400,000 and is expected to hit 500,000 deaths next month. Meanwhile, coronavirus vaccine reserves were already exhausted when the Trump administration promised to release additional doses. No such reserve existed because the Trump administration had already distributed what was available at the end of December, taking the doses directly off the manufacturing line. Still, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar announced on Tuesday that the administration would be releasing the entire supply for order by states rather than holding second doses in reserve. Operation Warpspeed waited more than 2 months to approve a plan to distribute the COVID-19 vaccines, leaving states with little time to prepare for the largest vaccination campaign in U.S. history. The CDC wanted to start planning in June, but officials at Operation Warpspeed held the release of the CDC's distribution plan, saying it needed to go through the interagency clearing process. The Biden administration says it plans to retire the Operation Warpspeed name, citing failures by the Trump administration. Meanwhile, the CDC warned that the United Kingdom variant on the coronavirus could become the predominant strain in the United States by March. While only 76 cases of the variant have been identified in the United States, researchers estimate that it's roughly 50% more transmissible than the more common strain. The variant, however, is not known to be more deadly or to cause more severe disease. And finally, Trump will leave Washington, D.C. hours before Biden's inauguration and fly to his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida to begin his post-presidential life. The White House is considering holding an elaborate send-off event for Trump that would have the feel of a state visit, with a red carpet, color guard, military band, and a 21-gun salute. And in the polls, the Washington Post says 89% of Americans oppose the storming of the Capitol by Trump supporters. 57% say Trump deserves significant responsibility for the attack on the Capitol. NPR says 58% of Americans blame Trump. And Pew Research Center says 29% of voters approve of the job that Trump is doing as president, his lowest approval rating ever. 68% of voters do not want Trump to remain a major political figure in the future. That's all for now. You can find the links and sources for all of these stories on the main website. And as always, visit whatthefjusthappenedtoday.com for the latest news and headlines. Until next time, I'm Joe Amditis.